Hi guys, I am Lorraine Brock. I'm a professional organizer and owner of a company called Get Organized, where we actually go into people's homes and get them organized. But it's like 13 years. Part of my role in my company is not only business development, the marketing side, but education. That's actually how I started my company. I love the idea of going into presentations and doing them like this for the library and educating people on getting every area of their life organized. You can organize your home, your business, and your life. I mean, think about it, your life. I mean, think of everything from your checkbook to the what you eat to, in this case, educating spaces at home that you're going to use for your kids. There's not anything in your life that can't be better organized. That is my passion, and that is how I started, and in a role that I continue to take in making sure I have educated people in getting organized. So that's a little bit of history of my company. Let me tell you a little bit about me personally. So I've been married 32 years to my high school sweetheart, and we have 3 sons, and from 27 to 23. So 2 at home, still in college, almost ready to graduate. But I want to tell you what I did when I was a younger mom in the role of being supported for their education. I have public schooled, homeschooled, and private schooled. And in all of that, I have learned a lot about educating at home. And I want to share some of those tips and obviously modernize it to where we are today and be able to share some tips in a lot of different areas that will help you better perfect that education space. Now, for many of you, you've already started educating one or more of your children at home, or it could be a homeschool environment. It could be a virtual environment where you are collaborating with the school and a teacher, and you're not really in charge of the lesson plans, but you're overseeing that the lessons and the work is getting done. And often mom and dad are at home. Mom and dad are at home. The other kids are at home. I've seen and heard a lot of other family members in backgrounds during the virtual calls and meetings. And I tell you what, it's a struggle for all of us. And so we're going to help you get maybe some things that you just want to perfect a little bit better, or maybe things that you're not considering. We're going to help you with that today. And again, write down your answers or questions of what you want to ask me, and I'm going to leave about 10 or 15 minutes at the end to answer your specific questions. And I'm going to give you a little bit, now bear with me here. I am going to see if I can get a let's see here on the screen here. Let's see, share the screen. I'm going to just show you sort of what our day is, I guess our day is going to look like, our hour here. So here's some talking points we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about selecting an education space, some things you need to consider about that. Then we're going to talk about schooling multiple children at home. Again, we're just going to give some tips and ideas, things for you to consider. Creating a portable learning area. That means it may not always be stationary, depending on what's going on in the home. If you have family, visitors spending a week with you, or grandma and granddaddy show up or something. We're going to be talking about some suggested products here, particularly I even got some to actually show you guys today that are hands-on that I actually have. We're going to talk about desk options. If you're still looking for a desk, and remember, a lot of these things can be purchased to be used long after this phase that we're going through is over with. And then we're going to talk about kids' school paper systems. And this is something I want to camp on for a little bit longer, because it will apply to not only this year, but it will apply to previous years if you have kids' school papers that you're really don't have a great solution or a great system for helping with getting those organized and how you're going to store them. And again, do you keep all of them? Do you keep none of them? Do you keep the best? What constitutes the best? We're going to talk about all of that. So I want to give you, and then finally, obviously, the Q&A that we will have time for. So we'll get to that here shortly. I'm going to get back to the video, and we'll talk about the first thing what we're going to talk about is the selecting an education space. What I really want to, I guess, pour into you guys is your kids are often at a very vulnerable age when there are a lot of the kids that are really young that are now getting access to computers that maybe haven't been on computers much at all or very limited. So, and then you're fighting between giving them access to be on the computer versus giving them privacy in a quiet space to get their work done. I just want you to just have some head knowledge. And I love to look as an organizer. I look at the end result of something often to see what my decision is going to look like if I play this out a few months, a few years. Where do I end up? And then I back it up and I say, okay, if that end result is not going to be where I want it to be, what can I do now to sort of navigate that to make it end up in a more of a positive help for me? So I want to give you a couple ideas. Number one, like I said, you're balancing privacy, you're balancing the noise, and you also should be balancing accountability. Now, consider the location that you pick. Obviously, you want it, like I said, in a private space, but whatever you pick, you need to have that conversation with your child, whether they're in kindergarten, whether they're a senior, and make sure that they realize that this is something that you may be having to give a little bit more for privacy versus later on down the road when this is, back to normal and they're in the classroom. It may be something that they're going to say, well, that becomes a new normal. The computer's in another room, mom and dad aren't there. And I would highly try to get you not to do that. Keep in mind that communication is really a key factor here in letting them know what the expectation is now and what it's going to be after this phase is over with. Because my fear in a lot of kids getting access to technology is that parents aren't going to have a tendency to monitor it as well. They're going to maybe think the child's on, or the child sort of expects them to be on, or expects them to be able to get on the computer when the parents are like, they're on it. They know what they're doing. They're not really having that accountability. And we want to protect our child's eyes, protect their ears, so good things come out of their mouth, right? And so just be aware, set the expectation now of what's acceptable, but then also have a caveat, have something that says, this is not what we're going to continue to allow, or even after the education is over with for the day, we're going to have these types of accountabilities and standards in place. So have that conversation. Don't just sweep it under the rug, because it really needs to take place. Another thing you can do if your child is educating in an area that you want them to have more accountability, consider some noise canceling headphones. Jabba, I think, is the pronunciation. I don't think I have the actual spelling, but Jabba makes some really nice quality headphone sets that come in different price points. Obviously, different options are available. We use them in our office, and there's on, off, mute, unmute. You can get ice from the ice machine and it not pick anything up when you're on a call. It doesn't have to be plugged in. Some can be wireless. So I know that's a lot of the money. Again, this is something for long term. We're looking, this could work with them depending on your child through college, right? So if you're looking at something about having them more in with you, you can check on some kind of any type of noise canceling headphones could be a really good option. So we talked about another way that we can do it. So let's just say you don't want your kid in the same room with you, or maybe they need to be in a separate room. One of the things that I would recommend, and again, I'm going to show you some things here, is an intercom system. And I'm not talking about one that's built into your home. We use this from the time my kids, I don't know, we had a 2-story home the time my youngest was 2 years old. So around 5 years old, we started using an intercom system in our home that we plugged in. We actually got our first one at Radio Shack, which is no longer around, right? But they have tons of intercom systems on Amazon or any kind of electronic store. And they look very similar to this. And this is, I just printed out a picture here. They plug into the wall. They come in sets of 2. And they have all different price points and different types of options and features on them. What I like about this is, let's say that one of your children is in another room and they have a question and they need you, and you're in another office and you're working, right? And maybe your husband is too, or your wife is too. They can hit a button that actually turns a color, normally red, and it says, hey, someone needs me in the other room, without disturbing. There's also sounds that if you keep your sound on, you can hit it and it'll buzz you. Sort of like, hey, buzz me back, or beam me up, Scotty, right? And they notify each other when there's something that they need from each other, and it works both ways. Another option that a lot of them have is the ability, which they actually all have this, you can just push the button and talk to the other person. And ask where they're at, ask how they're doing, and if the kid has a question, they can do the same thing each way. It's really, really good. Now they often have little channels on it, so if you want to speak to dad and he's got the intercom on channel C and mom's on channel B, they can move the channel to ask that particular parent or sibling a question. They're just really, really good. And I actually think they're pretty inexpensive. I want to say that these two were about $60 on Amazon. And the ones that we had purchased years ago lasted us like 10 to 15 years. So it's a great, great buy. I've also suggested some way maybe you can manipulate an old baby monitor that actually holds a picture, like it actually has a picture. You could set the baby monitor up facing your child if you want them to know about it or not, and sort of see what they're looking at, see what they're doing. And sometimes the baby monitors, you can talk in it one or two ways. So again, use some things maybe you already have in the home to help you keep them accountable and help that communication be really good, and try to make it flow a little better, because everyone still needs their privacy, especially for sound and noise, but they also need that accountability as well. Another thing I would suggest, and I would even suggest this even after post-COVID situation, I would totally even suggest this, that do a weekly forecasting of the responsibilities of your child, their home responsibilities, their school, their activities, and that will help them gauge what needs to be done on certain days. It's almost like a chore chart, but not really. I mean, we're going to add a lot more things to it, and we're just going to make sure they understand the responsibilities and sort of forecast for the week. Maybe this week, something in the yard needs to be done, or maybe this week something in the house needs to be done. And that could change, and you can sort of forecast with them when they're going to do it, because school is shorter these days when we're doing it virtual learning, and they have more time, which they should be able to take on a little bit more responsibility in the home or learn a new skill. Another thing is create nightly pickups. I mean, I know it can in some homes get messier because everyone's at home, and then you have that routines maybe are not all in place because it's not really a routine going on right now with a lot of families. Keep the nighttime routine in place as far as whatever bedtime is. Back that up and make sure they have ample time to clean up and put up. And I always call it, I want a no drama pickup. I want something that I can say, hey, everybody go and clean up their areas. And then there's not whining and complaining like, I didn't make that mess. Why should I clean it up? My sister made that mess. Well, I want a no drama pickup. I don't want all that. I just want you to go pick up your spaces. So what I would suggest is creating zones. Have each member of the family, especially the kids, have a zone. And a zone may include 2 or 3 rooms based on the size of that room and how cluttered and they get during the day. And then at the end of the night, let's say bedtime's at 9, let's say 8 o'clock, everyone hit your zones and start cleaning them up. And it doesn't matter who left that out. Well, obviously we don't encourage leaving it out, but if something gets left out, then they know that they're responsible for that zone and they have to do that. And obviously make it age appropriate, right? We want to make sure we are giving the little guys something that they can actually handle and build confidence in, and in get encouragement that they can actually help out and be a part of the family. So create those zones and make sure their rooms picked up, back, whatever it is that you want them to do before bedtime, go ahead and continue to that. And this will help keep the house picked up, especially when everybody is at home. Okay, so let's talk about a few things. Now we're talking about multiple kids, schooling multiple kids. I love visual cues. I think everybody appreciates some things that you can think about that would give visual clues that, hey, I'm busy, don't interrupt me. Now, this doesn't work sometimes on a 2 or 1 year old because they don't pick up on those visual cues. But let me show you what I have for you and see if you can even come up with some more yourself. So one of the things that homeschooling multiple kids or educating is this on air little door hanger here. I got this, I think, off of Amazon. I've seen something like this at office supply stores as well. Great thing. If this is on a doorknob and you see this just basically means don't bother me. I'm on air. And they are. They're live on their virtual learning. Again, a visual cue to help whoever might need to bother them, not bother them. Now I'm going to show you something else a little funny. I actually have this from a Bible study group that I was leading. And we use this as a visual clue when people would rabbit trail on their stories. People like to share, victories or things that they're struggling with. And I thought this is another visual clue that can be used when someone's doing some education at home. So it's just a little, you see little rabbit ears, like rabbit trailing, get it? Rabbit trailing. But look at that, it lights up. So you can buy all kinds of things like this in different shapes, and just go on the internet, look for, little light up things. I don't even know what I searched for, but this is not too old. And it's just a little button here that you just pull off. So when the kid is actually schooling, maybe the computer, they're not facing the doorway. They can't see people come in, or people can't see their monitor and see that they're working. They can just make sure this is visible in the room. And as long as this is on, it's a visual cue that I am learning, don't bother me. So this is really good. Another thing is, make sure when you're setting up your kid's desk, and we're going to talk about desk in just a second, make sure that it's very distracting for the kid to be behind the desk and working, and their face is facing the door or the French doors or something where everyone's passing by or opening and closing. It can get very, very distracting. Plus, you as a parent can't see the monitor. So I would suggest the opposite. I would suggest you don't have them face the door. Maybe face a wall versus a window too. Think about that. And make sure that their back is against the door so you can see what they're doing on their computer. Again, just little tips to keep accountability in there. And it also could increase their productivity if they get really distracted really easily. All right. Another thing that you can use when you're homeschooling, you're schooling multiple kids at home, and some of these will even be great, like I said, even post-COVID, where you're actually doing homework. And I think it's just a real creative way. So this is, it's a black piece, but hopefully you'll be able to see it. It's just a cardboard that it has 2 creases here that actually makes a very creative space for giving privacy to the child. It's just an education board, privacy board for education. You can look up those. They run about $25. You could probably make your own with some duct tape and some really hard foam construction boards, the thick kind, the corrugated kind, and you can be able to create this and have one for, each color of the kids. But I like this because it just folds right down, and you can slide it in just, in between, behind a cabinet or behind a couch, someplace that when they're not schooling. But these are really good to help keep privacy between the kids and not let them look at other people's paper and so forth. You touched my paper, you looked at my paper. that can get old after a while, right? All right, so let's talk about, let's see here. I'm going to actually show the PowerPoint now, and we're going to actually look at this. All right, so we talked about these things. Let's go on to actually looking at some products here. Let's see if I can get this to move on. Just a second. It took a second last time. I need to go to the next slide. There we go. Here we go. All right, so don't ask me to pronounce the names of these desks because most of these are just, well, most of them are actually IKEA desk. But these are really good desks. And when we go in and organize people's homes, and we have done quite a few education spaces most recently, these are some of our organizers' research that they are suggesting and measuring out for particular client spaces. So what we did is we sort of took a list of these as well as some that we found online too, and put them together to sort of create a package for you guys to sort of see where these are at. Now the prices could have changed, but you can see here, this is a desk from Wayfair, and obviously great storage solutions, not only on top of the desk, which I love desks that have little backs that can go vertical more on the wall. I love it, but it also has storage, you know, at the chest level towards the bottom of the desk. All right, let's go to the next one here. This was actually a picture of a room that we actually created this space. All these products here are from IKEA. And I guess the drawer system on the right here is actually Troll Fast. It's actually found in the children's department. You can get it taller, you can get it wider. There's different versions, but Troll Fast is actually the brand. They have Troll Fast always at IKEA. You can get different colored bins. Here we use chalkboard labels to make it just really pop and look a little clean. But this is what we did. These prices vary because obviously there's a lot of different products here. But one thing I'll have you note here is that there's 6 little cubbies hanging on the wall. And this is actually in their kitchen department. And they have a few different styles of this. These are actually plastic little, you know, almost like pot plants, but they're not a pot plant holder. They probably would actually work. You could probably grow some herbs or something in this if it's by a window. But this is where you can keep pencils, pens, scissors, crayons, obviously age appropriate, but who can access it in the home. And it makes a really great space using the vertical storage on the wall to store things when you don't have a lot of storage in the desk. You notice the desk doesn't have the storage. It's obviously cheaper. So they're using additional products to help store the items. All right, this is a Mickey desk from IKEA, and it's one of the names I can pronounce. Mickey has a wide line of products at IKEA. They have a wide, very, very different options in desk, including a corner desk, which I really, really like. But the whole theme of this Mickey is that it's very small, it's very condensed, they're not very big desk at all. So all the style of this furniture is considered really, really for small space. You would not find this a very large desk in the Mickey line. They're really small, but they have a lot of accessories or pieces that would go with the Mickey desk to make it more functional. And I really do like this. And this is just one example. And again, they come in different colors as well. Good price point here. So we're looking at a higher end here. Now, to me, you know, I threw this up here because it's something that I know people love the style. They love Crate and Barrel. I think it's good quality. This is not my price point for my student, and it's definitely not as functional as I'd want it to be compared to some of the other ones we just saw at their price point. But it is an option, and it does have storage, which I do like. I think it's very important, but it's not my price point. But that is definitely a nice desk, and it would be very good. Notice the back of it has a little lip on it, so things don't fall off the other side if you were to scoot them forward like papers. Here is another desk with IKEA. This is more, actually it's more of an industrial type look, which I'm not into this look, but it really works great for younger kids. I think it looks great. It speaks boy to me a lot more than girl. And I like it because they have those plastic containers, which you can get in different colors down below. Now with IKEA, know that the top of those containers are sold separately than the actual container itself. So if you want to save a couple bucks and you don't need the lid, then don't buy the lid with it. And you can, they obviously did contrasting colors, white lids and an orange one there, or a yellow. It looks like a yellow and a white lid. But I like this as it has, the back, the front, where things don't fall off. All right, this is one of my faves, and this is really a desk for mom and dad. Because I figure if you're going to be helping with schooling, or you're going to be doing some work or part-time work or anything in the kitchen, this is a must-have. If I redo my kitchen, I will buy this, and I want to do a makeover in my kitchen, and this is going to be on my radar. So what this is it is a tall standing up desk, and it has two drawers. The printer would go, if you want to put your printer in there, would go on one of the bottom shelves. Actually, it looks like a bag is there now. You can have I think it actually raises up, or the lid can go down, and you have your computer underneath or supplies underneath. And then you have the top where your laptop would just set on. It is great, whether you are schooling or not. I'm thinking recipes, surfing the internet for instructions on something. It's just a great product to actually incorporate in a high traffic area where you would want your computer randomly and not have to keep it on the kitchen counter. So this is one of my favorites, and I think it's a great tool for mom and dad right now as the virtual learning is going on. All right, we're going to get to this in just a second, so I'm going to hold off there because I want to make sure that we're talking about different things in the order that we need to talk to them about. All right, so let's go to the next thing. We're going to talk a little bit about a little bit more portable storage or portable learning, and I want to show you this. This has become one of my favorite tools recently. And actually, I'm going to give this, it's brand new. I got it to do on one of my Get Organized talks, and I have just fallen in love with it. Got it on Amazon. They sell these at Bed Bath & Beyond, Target, you name it, they have it. Office supply stores have these. What I like about this, and you think about it, it's a lap desk is what it is. And most of us are, we've seen these lap desks. They started off years ago with a bottom that was sort of cushy, you could lay on your lap. And here's a couple of reasons why I particularly like this one. Number one, look at this. It has really great storage space inside. Really, really like it. It's a thick plastic, but not too heavy. So the kids can keep stuff in here. And let's say that you don't want to buy a desk right now. Totally okay. This is not, they're going to go back to school. You can buy this, and they can work one day in the living room floor, one day on their bed, one day sitting on the couch with this on their lap. It's so portable. It's a great, great tool, but even more so, look at this. Look at that. Isn't that just great, where they can actually set it down and it actually has legs, but if you're wanting to move around or carry it, guess what? Not done yet. On the top here, there's a pencil holder area. So that means they can put a pencil here or a pen when they're not using it, and it doesn't roll off on the couch or doesn't roll off on the floor. And it has a little holder. Not done yet. Up here, to the front of it where you open it, there's a handle. So they can carry it. Now, here's what I love: things that are multi-purpose, and I love things that you can, remember I told you, I always think where we're going with something, how I can use it, am I going to end up in the place that I want to end up? This would be a great tool, even after all this is over with, to use on road trips. I mean, think about it. It'll keep the kids busy. I would use it, and I'm a grown-up, but I would use it on a road trip if I needed to do something in the passenger seat and work on something, or maybe I'm putting together writing a note card. I don't know, but You can just, each of the kids have their own. They can take it with them in the car. They can, you know, put their drawing or games or little travel toys and travel games inside, and they each have their own, and it's time to get out of the car. Everyone collapses theirs and puts this down, and it's all together. And look how thin it is. So I just want to say this probably comes in probably about maybe 10 to a dozen colors. And I will be purchasing 2 more of these for Christmas gifts. They are outstanding. And a little tip, if you're going to do that, fill it with some goodies inside and make it a complete gift. And my granddaughter's like, oh, where'd you get that? I'm like, oh, it's work stuff, honey. Wait till Christmas, right? Okay. So that's one of my things that I've just fallen in love with and wanted to share with you guys. All right, let's see here. All right, so before we get to the school paper thing, which is going to take, you know, about 15 minutes for that, so I'm not going to hurry here. School supplies. Couple things with school supplies. I have behind me, and I'm going to move down the camera so you won't see me for just a second. You're going to actually see, hopefully, this right here, okay? So this is a rolling cart. You can see how cute it is, right? This rolling cart right here is a cart that I got at IKEA. You can get them at Michael's for about $30. You can get them at IKEA, Container Store. You can get them a lot of different places. Michael's, Hobby Lobby, just think. But really good, sturdy. I think any of them or all of them that I've seen would do just fine. The very thing, this is outstanding for keeping all kinds of school supplies in or all kinds of crafts in. You can use it long after, again, that this is over with. You can roll it out by the table, roll it out in a common area, then roll it back somewhere else when you're not in use. And I love it. It is an incredible, incredible tool to have. I would recommend nearly, if you're doing elementary, maybe even middle school, I would say this is like a really big must for most people, because you may not have the extra space in your kitchen or wherever they're at, but this, and I guess the kids could each have one themselves, or a lot of kids just use, you know, they share a shelf for each. So this right here is it's a cleaning caddy. Again, just an idea of how you can organize some supplies, but we use solo cups, just the plastic drinking cups, and we found some cute ones. And we use it to put, you know, pencils, pens, markers, glues in, all that kinds of stuff. Then we have on this side, we have all kinds of, you know, construction paper. We have writing tablets. The kids each have folders. And then we have one here that has like notebook paper in it. You can put, you know, rulers. It's all great. This is really good. And what you do is you just set this out. If your kids are homeschooling or virtual schooling in an area, they can each have their own, or they can share one, have different folders in here for them, and set it out and then put it up when you're done. Cleaning caddies are really, really good for education. Now, let's say that you love office supplies. I mean, some people just really like office supplies, the sticky notes, the colors. It's just office supplies, but it's so fun. It's addicting. Same thing with school supplies. Have an area in your home that is what we call, in the organizing field here, we call it your shopping area. Go put everything in your store that your kids are not going to use right now, but you're going to have extras. And then keep somewhere else in the home the supplies that are readily, easily available. And when those start running low, go to your store and get some more and replenish those areas they work in. For example, a lot of people homeschool and do virtual learning in the kitchen area. I don't want poster board and notebook papers and binders all in my kitchen. I need to have a little bit so they can do some schooling, but the rest of it's going to go in the store, wherever that is in your home, a closet, hall closet, a bedroom closet. Just keep it all together and not spread out over the house. So, all right, so let's get started. Be thinking of your questions, guys. Let's get started on the paper clutter for the kids. Well, their school paper, should I say. I don't know necessarily. It probably causes clutter, right? Okay, So I'm gonna start here and talk to you about these bins. These particular bins are from IKEA. I don't know the name. Again, that Swedish term, spelling gets me off, but it's in their recycle container department. And there are two of these types of containers. There's a larger one and a smaller one. And you want to get the smaller one for the kids' papers. Now, the smaller one will hold construction paper artwork, which I'll show you in a minute what that looks like in size so you know how deep this goes. But these containers actually stack on top of each other. You don't have to have them. We just have them here. And this particular client was going to keep them in the garage. So you can see we're in the driveway here. The grass is behind. We've labeled them with really nice labels. We did this for the client, and then we're going to stack this in the garage. And that front little lip on these actually is a hinge, and it raises up, and you can slide in their papers that you want to keep for that year. Now, we always tell our clients, keep the papers no matter what they are, no matter if you don't go through them. In other words, don't pile up stack of papers on your kitchen countertops and say, oh, I'll go through these and decide what I want. And then 2 weeks later, you still haven't done it, and you add more to the pile. And then, companies come and you're like, I don't know, I can't keep them on the counter anymore. Let's shove them in the laundry room. So you go to the laundry room and the papers stack up. Well, finally, you got to do washing at some point, right? Because you got to have some clean clothes. And you take the papers that were in the laundry room and you're like, I'm just going to throw them in a bucket underneath the stairs. And then they just continue to have this same cycle until you realize, I have a lot of paper clutter, and not only do I have 1 kid, in this case, I have 3 kids, and let's do that year after year, and let's see how much mess we can have with kids' papers. So our system here at Get Organized is that we create a holding tank, which is what you see here, 1 holding tank for each child, and we use that throughout their entire school career. And every time they bring home papers or complete papers, no matter what they are, we tell our clients, don't make a decision on what you're keeping, what you're not, because that's what causes the piles. You're planning on doing it. It's a postponed decision. You just keep postponing it until you have time. Just feel comfortable just throwing it in their bin. There's really no organization to these, except the bottom of the container is the beginning of the school year, and the top of the container is the end of the school year. But everything is in each child's own holding tank. So after you've done this for the entire 9 months of the school career, and they've not lived on your kitchen counters or your washing machine, and you can decide where you want these. Some people use in mud rooms, laundry rooms, closets, under the stairs, garage. They've used them all different places because they have a lid on them and they work really, really great. So let's go to the next one here. For it to get a little bit, it takes a little bit for sometimes to go to the next slide. There we go. Okay, so at the end of the school year, so during the summer months, you're going to take the papers that were in those containers, 1 child at a time, and you're going to sort them into 3 piles. You're going to sort, and write this down because it's important to know this. So you're going to sort them into 3 piles. The first pile is going to be everyday schoolwork, and that's, you can see that on the sticky note on these envelopes. Everyday schoolwork. The second pile is going to be artwork. And the third pile is going to be what we call portfolio. 3 different stacks, and you've got to sort all of those papers 1 child at a time into those 3 stacks. So let's concentrate on the everyday school papers right now. So here our organizer has actually created an envelope system that will take care of the child's everyday school papers for their entire school career. 1 envelope per year. So whatever age this child was when we started this system, all the way up to 12th grade, we have envelopes that are ready to go. And here's what we decided. These envelopes are about 10 by 13. So if you don't know what you're looking at, about 10 by 13, I would not go any smaller than that. And what we end up doing is we go through and we look at what the everyday school papers would be. Well, some would be like a math paper that has an outstanding comment on it. Maybe it could have pages from the journal or the journal itself. Maybe your kids write about their summer vacation or what they love about dad, whatever it might be. Those types of papers are called everyday school papers. It could be cognitive test. It could be a spelling test, math test. I mean, they're not really papers most people would want to keep. But if you do, you're going to have to put those in that envelope. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we move forward. So the rest of them you throw away as far as the everyday stack and only keep what will fit in the envelope. The envelope is your threshold. All right. Then you have what you call the portfolio. And this is probably where I like to camp out a little bit. And we're going to get to the artwork and the other stuff. So the portfolio is a binder that you would just create, one binder per child. You put in sheet protectors. You can label the sheet protector edges, as you can see on the right here. You can label it by grade level is what I would suggest if you do that. Start wherever the child is in their grade level and go all the way through 12th grade. You don't have to label the pages because by default, as you put these in the clear sheet protectors every year, the younger grades are going to be the top of the binder, and as you progress towards the back of the binder are going to be the older school grades. It will just naturally go that direction. So just keep that in mind if you don't want to spend the extra time. But here is where you're going to put things that are really going to be valuable to you as mom and dad when they get into those late teen years, when they get ready to take a first job or look for a job, when they get ready to prepared for college. Like my kid's only in kindergarten or first grade right now. Why do I need to learn this? It's because, well, two things. It's going to be organized. All the best of the best stuff is going to be organized, and it's going to be organized by their progression, you know, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and so forth. Second thing is it's going to provide you a record of all the things that they were involved with. So things that I would put in here would be ribbons, certificates, accomplishments, perfect attendance awards, character awards. You can put in here if they were in a musical concert and they did a solo, or they were in the concert and or theater and did a program and they were in the program can actually go in there. All kinds of things can go in here that allows them to stand out. It's their best of their best. And I'll give you an example. So one of my youngest son, who's 23, is in the Army National Guard, and he's been in there almost 6 years. He started actually in Plano East in Plano. And during his middle school years in the Plano School District, he got to submit something for going to a military base for a whole week, getting out of school, going to a military base. He was actually entering ROTC. And it actually had to do with his character and how in his attendance, like how has he attended school, and did he have outstanding character? Well, we were able to they chose him to go amongst 2 or 3 other students in his 9th grade year, going in middle school to high school. And he got this certificate in the mail basically saying that he qualified, and because of his outstanding character and attendance. And we kept that letter and we put it in here, and we used that letter as part of his college entrance application, showing the ability for him to be selected for such an honor and a privilege to be able to do that based on his character. So I'm telling you this, my son was not an AB student. He struggled with academics. So we had everything, but he didn't struggle with character. And that is what put him over the edge for so many things, even getting into colleges. It was not all based on academics. So I encourage you to do this, one for each of your kids. And here's a little bit, another side of that, of what we talked about. All right, so let's get back to a few more minutes here. Okay, so let me show you. Remember I told you you could put that artwork into those big things? This is like the construction type paper. And this type of stuff will go in there, as well as little pieces of art, you know, notebook pieces of paper. All that will go into those holding containers from IKEA. And here is a portfolio here that is just one I use for visuals. It's not a real one. And certificates are in here. I have programs I told you about. If they're in some kind of musical program, You can put it in here. Report cards. I realize report cards are online, but sometimes, especially in different grade levels, they'll have comments written down below it, comments that the teacher said about your son or daughter. And those are great to print out and keep in here. Again, giving you more ammunition to show how awesome your child is amongst others, especially when they're, vying for those part-time jobs and getting into colleges. Perfect attendance award, letters of recommendation when you start getting those. It's just a great binder to have, and it is so powerful when they get to that 15, 16 year age and over. You'll never remember Brownie, Cub Scouts. You'll never remember all that. What years, how many years? It's crazy, especially if you have a lot of kids. This is that gold tone envelope. Now, I just put something on here years ago, so don't worry about the dates here, but this is an example. The gold tone envelopes, this is your threshold for everyday school papers. You can't put more in here than what will fit. So this is, after you fill this up for the school year, we suggest to our clients get another tote or get a tote and put all these in one tote. And you can keep it in the attic, you can keep it in the garage, you can keep it in the back of a closet, someplace where these will be able to get to. Now, be honest, you'll say, why would I ever want to keep papers like this? Some people are really sentimental. And not only that, they want to pass these papers on to their kids. And, your kids are going to have kids before your kids will even appreciate looking through this. So be sparingly when you save these. But I think one of the best things about saving everyday papers is the journals. Man, oh man alive, it is great to read their thoughts, where they are in life, what they see the future like. And I just think it's a great thing to have those nuggets and a place to store them and organize them. So we talked about portfolio. Remember the 3 sections that you're dividing: everyday, artwork, and portfolio. Portfolio is going to go in the binder. You're going to keep up with that, put it away, insert things once a year that's important. The everyday school papers, to fill this up with what you want for the year, trash the rest, and then put this in a tote that holds all the gold tone envelopes for all the school years for your kids. You might be able to put all the kids in one tote. You may just be able to put a few depending on the size of your tote, but keep that in mind. The last thing is artwork. All right, we're going to end on this, and then we're going to take some questions. So artwork, this is a artwork portfolio, very kitty-like, you can see. Great product. You can buy it on Amazon. I got this one. They've made it look a little different, but they sell them at the Lakeshore Teacher Learning Center in, I know, North Dallas Tollway. You can order it online from them too. There might be one in Fort Worth as well. And it's accordion, which you don't find these too often. This will last, if you get this, it will last for one of your child's throughout their entire school career. And you can put those larger pieces in here, right? Their artwork. This is a drawing that one of my kids made. You can put the smaller one. You can put, anything dealing with art goes in here, and you can put this right behind a headboard or right behind a dresser to store it. I would recommend having one of those for each child, so you organize their artwork. Now, if you go to like a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby, you're probably going to get just a portfolio that actually has an opening, like an envelope, and it's one big pocket. You might be able to get some that actually are big portfolios that have like big sheet protectors and that you can turn the page. They're not going to be like this. The only thing I don't like about this is there's no latch on the top, but it really hasn't posed a big problem as long as you just don't turn it upside down and you just keep it like this. And maybe some of those at the Michael's or Hobby Lobby would be great for you, but they're just normally not organized by accordion, which I love the accordion. You could do 4-year-old, you could do preschool, kindergarten. In every pocket is an age or a grade level. And then obviously when I get to high school, unless they're really artsy, and even middle school, that really reduces pretty low, and they don't actually need to use that too much. So those are my 3 categories. So again, you got your everyday, you've got your artwork, and then you've got your portfolio. And when you organize those into piles and you put what you want, the best of the best, you get to look at all of the school year and decide on what you're going to keep by picking the best. Then you can put it in these systems and keep doing it every year. That means you deal with paper really one time every year for every child you have, once for each of them. And that's during the summer months. And then you start over again the next year because your holding tank is empty, right? So I've used the system myself for years. I could tell you a lot more about it, but I'm totally out of time and I want to take your guys' questions. So I'm going to look down here in the chat, and I may even put my glasses on just a little bit and see here. It says, okay, this one says, I have this for my kids' art supplies. It's great. Okay, I'm assuming you're talking about the caddy or the cart. I didn't see when that popped up. But put any of your messages down here, and I am looking to see the rolling cart. Okay, yeah, the rolling cart is outstanding. And the thing is when I think about how I'm going to use this stuff when the season of life I'm using it for now is over. And that's why I've never been a big fan of buying little kid furniture, because it just lasts a season. Buy furniture that can grow with them. And that's where I get the cart. The cart can be used for so many things, including rolling in your pantry and keeping things that you might use when you're cooking. I'm just telling you, it's crazy. Okay, we use our rolling cart too, someone said. It's awesome, awesome. I love the colors too. So Mary says, so it sounds like if I have multiple kids and no space, the best idea really is a laptop desk. I would totally think so. There is no reason why. Those laptop desks are great. They're portable. There's no reason it can't work. What you're going to have to decide is how you divide them up, or put them on electronics and have that accountability. That's probably your concern with just no place to do it. But yeah, laptop desks are great, and they have different styles. So don't think the one I showed you is the only option. Look around. But what's great is if you don't like this, you can just package it up and take it to a local Kohl's, and they'll return it through Amazon if you go that. Amazon's customer obsessed. We know that, right? They'll allow so many returns. All right. Anything else? Here to help. If you have an unrelated question, we have a little bit of time. If you want to post it in there, some kind of organizational question. Katie,
yeah, I'm here. You would say that maybe the same kind of tools that you showed could be used for maybe if you're working from home, for all those parents that are also working from home, those to store work papers and such, until you get back.
Exactly. The cart would be great. The laptop desk would be great. Years ago, if you remember, there was an infomercial on, I think it was a white, and it was a tall couch, almost like a couch TV tray. But basically, when you put it up in front of you, you slid it right in front of you, and you could sit with great posture doing work on the couch. Mm-hmm. And so there's options for that too. I mean, and the thing is, again, you pull it out, it can collapse and put it. Think about storage. When you're buying something, think about when it's not in use, how can you store it so you maximize storage space? Mm-hmm. And let me see here. One said, advice on keeping your work from home space separate from your kids' educational space. Wow. If you're lucky, you can do that. My office staff have always worked from their home, and they've actually pulled up a little desk right beside theirs, and actually it's posted on our Facebook page. They're educating and working at the same time. You're going to have to keep yourself multiple systems that may be identical. Like you may have a small filing system on top of your desk for work stuff. You may have a small filing system on top of your desk for personal stuff. Like you're going to have to double dual it, or use a rolling cart and roll one in when you're in one room, roll it in there, and maybe everything's that you need for home and you need for, or personal and you need for work are on the cart, and you just move that cart around where you're working. You've got it. They've got to have access to you, and you probably have to have access to them. So have that 100% is probably not going to be possible. And I think everyone understands that. But you got a choice, either buy duplicates or use a cart like that, add your things onto it, pencils, pens, filing systems, that kind of stuff. And and use it. I mean, if you have to take a computer and work next to your kid and there's not really a place to plug in or something, you know, think about a battery backup. I mean, we were on the phone once, and we were like on a 2-hour call, and everyone had computers in the home that were used for education, and I had to do my stuff on my phone, and my phone was dying. It was sapping so much juice. So I had to have this little battery backup that plugged into my phone, and it lasted. So, you know, I had to buy a little battery backup, but I made sure I got a good one so I could use it for travel too. All right, let's see here. Any advice on getting the kids involved in the organizational process? Yeah, absolutely. Figure out what you want them to do, and then set how often you want them to do it. And thirdly, come up with some type of consequence if they don't do it. You know, you don't do your work at work, you don't show up on time, there's consequences, right? And I'm not talking militant here, I'm talking about teaching them responsibility. So figure out what you want them to do. One of the things that we did, age appropriate, of course, with our kids, is we put them in charge of cooking one family meal a week, taking off that from me, because my husband sure wasn't doing it. That's not his thing. And then he taught the kids how to mow, and they had to mow about 11 or 12 years old, and we had to teach them for a full year. So, you know, do it with them, not for them. And then obviously make sure that, you know, if they need to organize their room, do it with them, show them how to do it once, and then go in there and say, now that you know how, now it's time that you do it. And you, again, schedule, we talked at the very beginning of this, to forecast your week. Tell them what's coming. Like this week, you got to clean out your closet. What day's the best day for you to do it? Thursday after schooling. That's when you're going to, and they expect it. So you're not just saying, hey, go right now, get off the TV and go in there. You forecast it. I like the idea of pulling his desk beside mine. Yeah. I mean, I think people really understand that, and then just make sure he knows sort of the rules of etiquette when you're on the phone and stuff. One of the really great things that's good to teach kids is when they want your attention and they want to speak to you, whether you're on a conference call or not and you're talking to someone, have them learn to touch you somewhere, like on your shoulder if they can reach your shoulder. And what you need to do as a parent is acknowledge that they're trying to get your attention. You're in the middle of a conversation, standing in the kitchen, standing in the doorway. They're like, Mom. No, teach them to put their hand there. You touch their hand, let them know that you are acknowledging them, and then try to get to a point where you can break away pretty quickly because they're being patient, they're children, and then talk to them. Now, if it's an emergency, tell them to scream it out, right? But if it's just someone stole my toy, we can handle that. Just do the hand thing. Am I okay, Katie, here for a few more? Okay. I like the record the headset and phone or phone headphones. Yeah, in the house is noisy, helps with, yeah, I agree. The headphones are great. And again, the quality is going to depend on the price you're going to pay, but so worth it. All of my team have headphones because they work at home, and you, man, oh man alive, you can almost go anywhere. And again, you don't want to walk too far away from your computer if you're going wireless, because it'll start distorting. So you have to keep in that general vicinity, or carry your computer with you. Next one from Mary is, what advice would you give to someone to start organizing? Do you buy a bunch of storage supplies first, or what is the first step? No, you don't buy first. First step is to sort. Go into the space you want to organize. Like, let's just say it's this room. This is a media room for us, a theater room. I would go into my cabinets, my drawers, and behind the couch, and any place I would have storage, and I'm going to pull out everything in that room, every nook and cranny, and I'm going to have some boxes either in the room that I'm in, if there's space, or I'm going to have some boxes in the hallway right outside that door. And I'm going to organize them by categories: electronics, movies, maybe office supplies, maybe family videos. And I'm going to organize that based on the contents of this room, because I don't know what to buy yet, because I don't know how much if I'm keeping or getting rid of. So don't go buy because you don't know that yet. You don't know what you can purge and get rid of or part with until you know what you got. And you don't know what you got until you've gone through and sorted it so you know. So the first thing you would do with any space you're going to organize is sort first. And don't have a reunion with your clutter. Don't do that. Don't sit there and have a reunion with it, because it's just going to cost you a lot of time and you're going to be very inefficient to organize that space. All right. We do an elbow tap. Oh, that. Yeah. Indeed, right? All right. Any final questions? Katie, you've been so awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. We really love this. Y'all, if you want to see Lorraine, we have Lorraine scheduled for 2 more sessions in October. October 8th, we have Downsizing Moms and Dads. So really great. Even if you're looking to downsize yourself, or if you're looking to downsize parents, this is a great workshop for those. And then we also have October 6th is our Mompreneur. And that's part of our small business initiative. So it's all about starting your own small business. And Lorraine will talk about how she started Get Organized as a working mom. So thank you, Lorraine. We loved having you out. We had you out way back before quarantine started and loved you. And we were like, please come back and do virtual for us. So thank you so much. And for our parents in the audience, this kicks off our Resources for Parents series. We do have some more stuff planned in the works. So feel free to keep an eye out on our social media channels. We do have some more stuff specifically for parents during COVID-19. So feel free to check in for that. And thank you so much. This is being recorded and then will be posted on our YouTube channel. So keep an eye out if you want to share the link with that or revisit any of our storage options that we talked about today. Lorraine, did you have any final comments before we sign off?
That is it, guys, and I appreciate your time. Oh, I did. I wanted to let everyone know that on Tuesdays on our Facebook page, we do something called Tip Tuesday, where you can get more tips on various things each Tuesday. So go to Facebook, look for Get Organized, and like us and follow us, and you'll get to be part of that.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Lorraine, and we will see you in October. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a great day.